Hello everybody. Last week we talked about adjectives and adverbs, and we know how do they work in a sentence and why they are used. Today we will go more to understand phrases. There are different types of phrases. We have noun phrases, verb phrases, adjectival phrases, adverbial phrases, and prepositional phrases. We will go through each one of them and see what each phrase works and do in a sentence. Let's start with defining a phrase itself. A phrase is a small group of words, so it's not a single word, it's more than one word. So what these words do, they together form a meaningful unit within a clause. What is a clause? A clause is a cluster of words that's not a complete sentence, but a part of a sentence. There are several different types of phrases. Noun phrases, which is the first kind of phrases that we are going to explain. A noun phrase is built around a single noun. It can be just the noun itself or more than one word. Noun phrases can function in several different ways in a sentence. So we can find them as the subject of the sentence, or the direct object, the object of a preposition, which means the nouns that are founded after prepositions, and as in indirect objects. And here we have examples of noun phrases as in different slots in the sentence. We start with noun phrases as a subject. We have the following example: the yellow house. The yellow house is for sale. We can simply say the house and it will be a single word. But here, by adding yellow, we have more than one word that work together and gives us a complete noun phrase, okay? And we have it in the subject position. As well, we have another example: the glistening snow covered the field. So we have now a noun phrase here, not the snow itself, but another word that modify it and explain it more. As for a noun phrase that works as a direct object, we have I want a skateboard. I want a skateboard. Board here is the direct object, and a skate with it gives us a noun phrase. So we don't have board itself alone, but we have a noun phrase that all works as a direct object. Should we buy the yellow house is another example for direct objects. We move for the object of a preposition. Jeff rode on a skateboard. So own here is a preposition and a skateboard is the object for this preposition. Karen lives in the yellow house, so in here is the preposition and the yellow house is the object for this preposition. And we have example of noun phrase as indirect object, as in Lisa gave the little boy a candy. We come across direct and indirect objects, as you remember, in passive voice. And we know why do we have direct objects and indirect objects. And here we have the little boy, the noun phrase, which works as indirect object. We move for verb phrases. Verb phrases can be considered the easiest kind or type of phrases because it is a verb and all of its modifiers and helpers. So any auxiliaries or auxiliary verbs, helping verbs that comes with a verb are considered within the verb phrase itself. And because we have different tenses, past, present, future, and with the branches of these tenses, we have a verb phrase that might be containing a helping verbs with it or within it. So we, for example, have the verb walk, and we have here different kind, or actually different types of the verb work in different tenses, as in simple present, continuous, or progressive present tense, perfect present perfect tense, perfect continuous tense, and past tense, and all these tenses. So we see that we might have more than one or two words added to the verb itself. So all these are considered the verb phrase. Sometimes we have the modal auxiliaries or the modal auxiliary verbs. These are also considered within the verb phrase, and they can we know that some of them indicate likelihood, permission, ability, or obligation. Should walk, would walk, can walk, could walk, may walk, might walk, and must walk. All these are considered verb phrases as long as they are modifying the main verb itself and added to the main verb. As well, we have the verbs to do. They are also considered within the verb phrase when they are founded, as in doesn't work, didn't move, don't stop, and etc. We move to the prepositional phrase. This phrase is sometimes considered not the hardest but the widest type of phrases, because this prepositional phrase can be used in 3 places. Okay, let's start with understanding what a prepositional phrase is. A preposition, to start, is a word that expresses the relationship between a noun or pronoun and another word in the sentence. In addition, a prepositional phrase includes the preposition. So what does the prepositional phrase contains or combines a preposition and the object of the preposition, which is the noun or the pronoun that relates to another word. Prepositional phrases can function in 3 ways. In a sentence, they can be a noun, function as a noun, or function as an adjective, or as an adverb. So let's start with prepositional phrases that work as adjectival phrases. When they work as an adjectival phrase, they give us additional information about a noun or pronoun in the sentence. It is telling us which one, what kind, or how many. These are the information that a prepositional phrase, when it works as an adjectival phrase, gives us about a specific noun or pronoun in the sentence. Actually, just exactly like the adjective do. What the adjective do? The adjective gives us extra information about a noun, whether it is a subject or an object. So a prepositional phrase, when it works like an adjective, it gives us the same information as an adjective do. And we have here some examples of prepositional phrases that functions as adjectival phrases. Adjectival phrases or adjectival phrases, both of them are used. The first example is, the woman on the boat is my Aunt Carol. We see here the object of this prepositional phrase is boat. On the boat. On the boat is the prepositional phrase. This preposition on is telling us the relationship between what? Between the boat and the women. Women is a noun. So this is an adjective phrase because this prepositional phrase gives us extra information about this woman. That's why it is an adjectival phrase, works as an adjective. The announcement during class interrupted my work on the math test. The object of this prepositional phrase is class. During the class is the prepositional phrase. The preposition during is telling us the relationship between the class and the announcement. So as long as this prepositional phrase gives us extra information about the announcement, so it works like an adjective and it works as an adjectival phrase. So that's why it is considered an adjectival phrase, as we said earlier. So we move now for adjectival phrases themselves. Okay? An adjectival phrase here is different from prepositional phrases. Prepositional phrases can work as adjectival phrases. But what about adjectival phrases themselves? They are more than a group of words with an adjective in it. It's actually a group of words that describe a noun or a pronoun in a sentence, as we know about adjectives in general, thus functioning as an adjective. More than one word that works as an adjective. As in here, watch with me. He is from Boston. Tom is from Boston. So I have from Boston is the adjectival phrase, and we see that it's actually a prepositional phrase that works as an adjectival phrase, because from is a preposition and Boston is the object of this preposition. And here both of these objects or adjectival phrases gives us extra information about the noun or the pronoun he or the noun Tom. The very small kitten jumped at the big dog. Look at this. The very small kitten. I can say the kitten jumped at the big dog, but by adding more modifiers and words to this phrase, the very small kitten, so I have an adjectival phrase that give me extra information. Jumped at the big dog. Extra information about the kitten itself. Very small, by adding very small. The cost of the car was way too high. So I also have, instead of adding only high, I added other words to give us extra information. And the following examples are just the same, having a cluster of words around the adjective itself to give us extra information about it. Let's stop here with adjectival phrases in order to give you time to understand the difference between prepositional phrases themselves and how they are working as adjectival phrases, and adjective phrases themselves and how they are built. Okay, that's enough for today. Thank you very much. Next week we will continue with adverbial phrases, and we see how prepositional phrases can work as adverbial phrases as well. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best.